Hey guys, welcome to the Techpoint Africa Podcast. My name is Emmanuel.
I'm Oluwanifemi.
I'm Chimgozri.
You want to do your own this week, but let's
Everybody is for me big voice.
Yeah. So
you're not for me.
I'm staying true to myself. Be original.
My voice is sick.
Can we move on, please?
Okay.
Can we move on? Okay. See, you said okay. Okay, so guys, there are lots of interesting things to do this week and talk about. So interesting stories. Maybe I never saw it coming, but we got news of a layoff in Egypt where even the CEO and the COO were laid off alongside their employees.
You get why?
It's kind of funny. Wait, is it funny?
No.
Like, is it? It's not funny. It's sad, but maybe it's sad in a funny way or funny in a sad way.
One of the two.
One of the two.
Well, our audience will get to decide.
Okay, so mind you, just wait till the end because just watch the end, because by the end of this show we're going to be talking about something that really caused a lot of controversies a few weeks back, and that's Kenya and its seeming fight with Nigerian fintechs.
Like they are witch hunting.
Yeah, it felt like a witch hunt, but yeah, that's something that's promising to be interesting. And of course, you'll be seeing chapters to all the stories we'll be discussing today. And if any particular story is not your cup of tea, you can just jump to that particular story.
I bet they will be a cup of tea.
Is there MBA? That's every story be a cup of tea.
All right. So, but one thing I will actually want to talk about before we get into the thick of the stories is Lagos and the weird things you keep seeing on the roads on a daily basis. Now, on Tuesday, I was coming to the office and I saw a truck. The truck was looking like it was about to just tip over and fall. And guess what I did? Immediately I saw it. I took out my phone and brought out the Whistle app, which is coincidentally the sponsor of today's episode. It's not a coincidence, but I planned this.
Let's stick with coincidence. Go on. I'm enjoying the story.
Yeah, so that was the first thing I did. When I saw that truck, that was the first thing I did was to open the Whistle app and snap that truck, then send it to the platform. So I snapped the truck, sent it to the platform, and they sent me a message that, we're going to be reporting this to the relevant agencies to take action. And what is the point of this whole discussion? They know that Nigerians are very horrible road users.
So you just said Nigerians.
I mean,
please, don't do this.
Okay, don't.
Every driver on the road, at least there should be a percentage of them that are sane.
A percentage. I mean, if the percentage is below 15%.
Before we go into all that, just download the app from the Whistle Play Store. It's very interesting. And what is the selling point for this is, do you know why I did it? It's not like I really cared, but because they promise to pay you when you report such incidences. So you see traffic
side also unlocked.
Yeah, side also unlocked. That's true. So you see that traffic on Lagos Ibadan Express Road down to just that Lagos Ibadan Express Road down to the whole Apapa Expressway. That traffic you are seeing, just report the congestion. Get other people to also report, and it will tell Whistle to deploy relevant agencies to that place as soon as possible. So yeah, download that app on Google Play Store, Apple Play Store. No, it's not on Apple. It's not on the Apple stores. I'm sorry.
Yes, not on the Apple App Store.
Good. So back to the whole conversation.
Yes,
Nigerians are horrible road users.
You can't say Nigerians.
Nigerians are horrible road users.
Excuse me, guys. You can't say Nigerians. You can just say some drivers.
Was really crazy. And at some point, there was like this demarcation. Cars on this side, cars on this other side, and there was some space in the middle. And I just sat down, silently waiting for someone that would just break that kidney apart. But something came to my mind where, I think it's Germany, someone posted a picture. I was like, in Germany, when there's a traffic jam, like serious one, all cars go like this. And I'm like, I just smiled to myself, like, people don't know my country, man.
like you are seeing an empty space and nobody is entering. That
guy would just enter. I mean, if ambulance can pass through, why can't that pass through?
But seriously, we can't make that a generalization.
It's general.
Let's just move on. We can't make a if I were to be a driver, do you think I will take that?
Here's my concern. Here is my concern.
If I had a car and I drive.
Here is my concern.
See, in the right conditions,
we still do those same things.
Yes.
Still doesn't mean we are horrible.
Road users. I mean,
horrible.
I was at an event we partnered with GIG for, and a senior member of the Federal Safety Commission said he went to a school and asked those children in the school, how many of you here coming to this school today saw your parents pressing their phone on the way to work?
Many of them raised up their hand.
Everybody raised their hand.
Okay,
So we're horrible road users.
I agree.
But let's move.
I don't agree.
Okay, let's talk about the layoffs. Let's talk about the layoffs happening in Egypt. Capiter, an Egyptian startup, has laid off employees, and the CEO and the COO. Very, very funny story.
So
sorry, it's not funny.
Okay, maybe the details will clear some things, right? Okay. Capiter is an Egyptian e-commerce platform that
e-commerce
platform that aggregates manufacturers, brands, wholesalers, retailers, and bring them to a platform so that they're like merchants. Like, so if you are planning to buy those stuff, you come to their platform and you order and they deliver it to you in bulk, that kind of service, right? So they reportedly laid off 100 of their employees, and the COO and the CEO got caught in it. And that particular one was on the basis that they were fraud allegations and mismanagement of company funds, right? So it's not as if they got caught laid off in they got because they were caught in the layoff like other people, right? If you've been following Techpoint, and if not, I'm going to inform you now. We did a mini series of about layoffs last week, right? And we talked about companies that are laying off, the reason why they are laying off after they've raised, because in Capiter's case, the whole of last year they were able to raise $33 million in VC fund, right, just last year. And you get so, but when you think about these things, these companies are raising funds, these huge funds, and they are still laying off. So we did a particular article on why companies are laying off. Then we did another article on how they select who to lay off, right? So in that article we discussed some reasons, and one of them is some people, maybe their services are no longer needed, or they are performing below capacity, or they came in just recently and they are dispensable, or they've been there for a while and you just tell them go and retire, you've spent a lot of time. Those kind of strategies that are used. But when I was discussing the good side of laying off, normally you should not have a good side to laying off. The good side to lay off is you're able to get rid of people that you've wanted to get rid of very well. People
that you've been marking their face.
Exactly.
So
people that you have in mind.
So this allegation, although the CEO and the CEO are denying it, right?
Of course.
Yes, they are denying it. Stakeholders are like, we are not going to talk about it. I'm now wondering who leaked it. How did it get to social media? But there's still the allegation. They are both denying it. But stakeholders said they will go and do like external and internal investigation about them. Right, and it's as you said, it's both sad and it's funny that these two people will be caught in it. But in the meantime, while the investigations are going on, the CFO would be the interim CEO of the startup while it's going on. Yes, so layoffs. I think these people just took the shine out of the people that were laid off, like 100 of employees are laid off.
Did they take the shine off? Or
we are not discussing
the shine on them?
See, as we are sitting here, what are we discussing? We are discussing why a CEO or CEO was laid off.
Would not have
we are not talking about the 100 employees that were laid off.
Would you have discussed them in the first place? I definitely will not discuss 100 people who were laid off. I don't know them. There's no face to them. But the CEO who had to be fired basically for mismanagement of funds, I'm more likely to think of to discuss that.
Okay, so
but still, the layoff. The layoff conversation is going on, but I have a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Right. I have a conspiracy theory that some companies would want to ride on this trend, even though they really do not need to lay off. Because as it were, the current economic situation does not seem to really affect companies that much, except companies that want to raise and are not able to raise. Companies that are pre-revenue, you get that they don't have any money to give them wrong way because they have used up the one that they raised last and they can't raise now. You get, but companies that are already they're already making revenue, already making profits, as it were, it doesn't look like this economic downturn is affecting them as much as it would. So, but I think some companies will just want to ride on this trend and lay off.
That's actually conceivable.
And the irony of the matter is that companies are hiring, as it were.
Yeah, laying off. Yeah,
exactly.
Still hiring, still laying off. Yeah, so probably goes back to people you think you want to get rid of, people you feel are unproductive, people you feel are not adding value to the company. So I am saying that to say this: if you are trying to know if your company is about to lay you off, go and read Nifemi's article.
Right, and how to escape being laid off.
Yes.
All the red flags.
All the red flags you should know. Is your company about to lay you off? Here is how you know it. It's just there in the article. So just look out for those mini series on Techpoint Africa, and of course, it gives me a lot of food for thought. So we're talking about companies raising money, and here we are talking about companies laying off. But over the past few weeks or past few months, companies have been raising a lot of money. Startups.
Have they been raising a lot of money?
Okay, how much have they raised so far?
So far, just 98 million.
This year?
Yeah, no, not this year. Just this month, 98 million. But this year,
did you just say just 98 million?
Yeah, just
in Africa.
Yes. So when I say just,
we're in the middle of the month already, aren't we? Yeah, we're in the middle of the month.
Yeah, I'm contrasting it with what they did at this September last year.
Oh,
September last year, 800 plus million.
800 million last year.
Yeah, just in September.
No, that has to be one huge outlier.
Of course, what usually happens is one or two major deals that would probably make up half.
So I'm guessing OPay or when did it?
I can't remember
it has
when.
To be a very big deal for it to be.
So it's either the OPay deal or I can't remember the specific deal, but it just has to be one of those really huge deals that would make up for that. But even at that, let's say those one or two of those huge deals wipes off 400 million from what was raised, or maybe 500 million. That's very conceivable. But you still have another 300 million, and these guys have only done 98. So if you've done 98 halfway, let's say you raise at the same pace, or we get the announcements at the same pace, you end up doing about 200 plus million, give or take. So
what if someone announces a mega deal?
Yeah.
300,
but let's look at the startups, who could possibly do that?
Who could possibly raise the next 500 million?
Yes. Could Flutterwave bring its IPO plans to this month?
Are they serious about that thing? They're just using it to get good press. Well, let's move on.
Yeah. Or who is really large now? Could OPay raise more money?
OPay could.
Could Baga raise more money?
Baga, probably not.
Yeah. So
I don't think
they're not the
Baga are not that kind of
guys.
company. So it's more OPay, more of Team-Up, more of Kuda.
Yeah, Team-Up. I think Team-Up said they were raising, or they raised recently.
Don't worry.
Except someone comes to bail them out, you're not likely to have the huge numbers. But so far, I think the continent is on track to hit the 5 billion or approximately 5 billion that was recorded. We've already done more than 3 billion. So
okay.
Yeah, we should be on track to hit and
by
possibly
the end of the year.
And possibly exceed the approximately 5 billion that was raised last year. But then at the beginning of the year, a lot of people were predicting that it would blow last year out of the water, but I don't think that will happen.
It's probably not. But I'm actually keeping an eye out for one or two mega deals, but let's see. But funny, we mentioned Flutterwave just now, and apparently they're about to have stiff competition in Africa, I guess. So normally when you hear Brazil, you think the Peles, the Ronaldinhos. Some stereotypes are actually good. I think that's a good stereotype. I mean, a lot of football stars that have wowed me from childhood to now. They are Brazilians.
Yeah.
But I rarely don't think of Brazil in a business sense. But when I think about Brazil, when I want to think about Brazil properly, I realize that they are a very, very huge economy. They are like the economic powerhouse of South America. And when you talk about emerging markets, Brazil is one of those economies, and one of their biggest fintechs is coming to compete with our players here. Can you give us more details about that?
Okay, so EBANX, EBANX.
Banks.
Yeah.
EBANX.
That's like an artist. Sorry.
Yeah, we have one, Ricardo Banks.
Well, so our banks. Well, EBANX is moving.
Yeah, lose focus.
Banky W. Okay.
So, I mean, think about it. I think Ricardo Banks should go do like, is it copyright skinny? Lawyers, please, we should help us. Like maybe like copyright his name so that somebody doesn't go and start new bank for musicians and call it our banks. You never can tell someone will dream one night. But yeah, EBANX is launching in Africa, and they are starting with 3 major markets: the obvious, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa.
Okay.
And they're a payment processing company, one of the largest in South America. And it's actually a unicorn, so it's not just anybody expanding into Africa. So this is a very huge company. They just raised over 400 million last year, and they've already exceeded the $1 billion valuation by far. So they are basically coming to compete with whoever is playing in these 3 countries. And someone was saying that for the first year at least, except you just want to be maybe, let's say, very, very bold, you may not really compete directly. It's going to be gradual. So you're going to be learning how the market is. And one of the things that the CEO was mentioning, he was trying to draw parallels between, I hope I pronounce that right, I'm Igbo. So he was drawing parallels with Brazil and Nigeria. Okay. So Nubank is like one of the largest fintechs in the world. And it's like a model for anybody discussing new banks. And Kuda reportedly modeled themselves after Nubank. So he was drawing parallels that, these guys, I mean, we are both emerging markets here, but Brazil is much further along than Nigeria.
Yeah, the real emerging markets, please remove Nigeria from that equation.
Well, we are emerging markets if you think about it, but they are much further along.
Where are we emerging to?
Well, we'll have that discussion some other time. So they are they are like older. They've done this longer than us, so they have a lot more experience. But then there are still like similarities in the 2 markets. Not so rich populations, traditional large financial institutions that are not very open to adopting technology. So
there's that dynamic and flexible.
Yeah, there's that opportunity, there's the opportunity for someone to come in and disrupt. So they are coming in. And for Nigeria, they're starting with USSD payments. That's one of the things they'll be doing. They're going to be facilitating that. So it's going to be interesting how they intend to compete. So now we have some payment processors. We have the Paystacks, Flutterwave, Timapt, and smaller ones. And you have these guys that, like, it's not just a $10 million startup that is coming. This is, they have a huge war chest.
It's been founded since 2012.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I mean, they also laid off staff recently.
And they now expanded. Where priorities.
Yeah.
Priorities.
So they laid off staff recently.
I read Danny Femi's article.
Maybe they don't use that sacrificial lamb. But yeah, they're expanding. They have experience. And I also believe that if they're going to be making that move, this is not like you trying to diversify investments. It's not just I want to believe it's a well thought out move. There's a whole lot. We talk about how there are so many fintech startups, but I think there's still a very, very big market for anybody to like play. So let's see how it goes over
in
the
a
next.
way, you know what came to my mind? They will be looking for country manager now. I want to confirm if they have if they
true.
Yeah, that's and not just country manager, maybe some other important.
Definitely, they're definitely.
They will want to fill some roles because playing in the African fintech space is not something you do from diaspora. You have to be on ground, especially when it has to do with you pushing the financial inclusion. This thing, you have to go to the people that need it, people that do not use smartphones to start with, and also you have to get people on site.
I think they probably, at least the country manager, they should have someone like that locked down. So if you know that you have fintech experience or even financial services experience, please hit them up and ask them if they're hiring someone like you. And if you get the job, please shout out on Twitter and tell them you got the job.
We hinted you
a tip from the Techpoint Africa tip.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that.
Yeah, so fintechs they're getting me thinking about all the controversies of the past few weeks. But before we go into all the whole brouhaha, let's hear a message from the people paying our house rent.
Hi, I'm Abisola Adenoga, the head of business at Techpoint Africa. Did you know that you could present yourself as a reputable brand leader? Did you know that your business can get the limelight it deserves? Now you do. Using Techpoint Africa's marketing tools, we can put you in the faces of a large audience for brand awareness and thought leadership. To do this, reach out to us by sending an email to business@techpoint.africa or click on the link in the description below.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Techpoint Africa Podcast. And of course, we're talking about Kenya and their battle with fintechs. And all of a sudden, they are switching off the lights one by one. What's going on?
Okay, I'm trying to understand the switching of the lights.
So you let's say like there are lights in the studio that you want to use to attack something. You start switching them off. Wow. Because
you be able to attack better in the dark.
No, they're just switching
you
off
are
the
the one that is
lights.
switching off the lights. You get a the what's it called? That Google you used to see in the dark, so you know how to attack.
Are you writing a script?
No, that's the way it is.
No, you don't need the Google. You are just saying you are switching off the light to go and sleep. Like,
okay.
Okay.
Just let everything rest.
Everybody should go and rest.
So, yeah, let's hear what's going on.
Okay, so Kenya's Assets Recovery Agency has dropped a money laundering charge against three companies with Nigerian links. So Avalon Offshore Logistics Limited, OIT Africa Limited, and Remex Capital Limited. So a few months ago, I think April or so, the ARA had they asked the court to place an injunction to freeze money in these companies' accounts. So they froze the money. The companies couldn't use it, and the allegations were that these guys received a lot of money between November, I think, and December last year, and because of that, they received the money, moved it out quickly within a short period of time. So there are suspicions that these were like proceeds of money laundering, and the accounts were frozen. So last week the accounts were unfrozen, and all charges were dropped. So I guess it's good news to start with. For the companies, it's good news, but you're smiling already, so let's take it.
No. So why I'm saying that the lights are switching off one by one, because I feel all the lights are in one building. When I was doing research for that story, I realized that nearly all the companies were related in one way or the other. There was something tying all these companies together, and that's why the ARA raised alarm. So all the companies that they froze their accounts, even when the connection was not obvious.
Yeah.
By looking at the names of the people behind the companies, I knew that there were connections. So everything was in one building. So I first feel like this was the start. But what were the reasons that the ARA gave, and what were the conspiracy theories around that time? The conspiracy theory around that time was it was election period. They didn't want money to be moving up and down. And I was talking with CEO yesterday, and he mentioned the fact that if you're a fintech company and you hold the phone they used to receive alerts, you see the way money moves in and out, like at ridiculous rates. It could be 100k in 1 minute, it could be 30 million in the next minute, it could drop down to 3 million another minute. Now think about it, and that might just be a payment startup running B2C payments. Now think about it in terms of a company running B2B. Now think about it in terms of a company running B2B cross-border. So imagine the account, the kind of weird accounting, and where we probably fall these companies. Okay, yes, regulations are not clear when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah, and that has made them not to get the appropriate licenses.
But the thing with Africa is, even if regulations are not clear, you should actually go and meet them. Please regulate me.
Yeah,
because it's, to borrow a reference from one of our previous podcasts, Nigeria is like the wild west of Africa in some respects, if I can say so for myself. But in the US, the regulations are actually stringent, and these tech companies, I noticed that they spend billions to lobby government policies every year. Google, Facebook, and even after spending those billions to lobby government policies, they're still not sure of anything. They still get called to Senate hearings and all of that, and they get dragged and they ask very, very weird questions. And we in the tech space will say they don't understand it. No, that's not how it works. So, anyway, maybe I'm taking it too far. Maybe it's just election, and election has finished and they decide to open everything up back. Abi, what do you guys think?
So the thing is, I don't know what my sentiment is, but I feel the allegations came in as if they were very true. They didn't come the way the allegations were presented then, when it was still hot. It didn't come as allegations. It was as if they were sure that these companies were really into money laundering or fraudulent practices.
That's just your pattern. Once they suspect something,
they raise alarm.
They freeze the account first. Just cheap.
Until we are sure that nothing illegal is happening.
So they now did their investigation. Now they are free to.
I mean, so imagine I suspect that you're a murderer now. I'm not going to be like, oh, okay, I'll now start watching you. First of all, go and pick you, keep you somewhere first.
So before we do, you might investigate, because I do not have rights.
Well,
so in countries where you have rights, they will advise you not to leave the state.
Well, in Nigeria, yeah, you have rights, but you still don't have
your
rights.
Your rights are non-existent.
And you could leave our country through Cameroon or through the Cameroonian border.
So I just it's good to hear this, that there are really no fraudulent activities going on with this bank, as they said.
Not confirmed yet. No, there are still plenty, like the companies.
Yeah, yes, of course they will do their investigation, and they've been able to get the attention of these startups for them to do the needful when they are operating in these places. But then we still can't rule out the fact that sometimes regulators just don't understand yet what's going on.
They
in the
don't,
fintech space.
but that's still an excuse.
But they should try to understand.
I mean, Ogheneruemu, you mentioned something in one of our Twitter spaces. Ogheneruemu is the CEO of One Pipe. He mentioned something. He said, how can I think about, I'm paraphrasing here, I'm thinking about marketing. I'm thinking of product market fit. I'm thinking of customer onboarding. I still have to be thinking about all of that issues.
So let me play devil's advocate.
All the infrastructure that you are supposed to provide for me, you are not providing it.
Exactly.
Let me play devil's advocate for the regulator.
Okay.
You have people moving huge amounts of money, and you have a responsibility to your citizens to ensure that their money is not mismanaged, which is a huge responsibility.
Of course.
Money is.
You've seen complaining.
Don't worry. Let's go.
So
complaining.
Let's define that you can use Flutterwave and Paystack conveniently.
Yeah.
Today.
And even team apps.
Do you bother to think about the process involved in all the settlements?
No, you don't. But you also don't bother to think about what could happen if your money goes missing. It's only when it happens to you, that you begin to think, okay, maybe I should go and meet my bank. Now, of course, your bank has a responsibility to you to ensure that your money is safe. But sometimes, imagine they were not regulated. That means the money could go missing, and there's no higher authority that comes to them and say, oh, look, I mean, we've talked about this thing before, where a bank you're having issues with your bank. The moment you copy CBN, it's as if it's a signal to just respect yourself and get this guy's money back. They know that there's somebody here that can basically hold them accountable and also make sure that they don't just mess up. So regulators are important, and it's not like
no one said they are not important.
Yeah, but like you're saying that startup founders, of course, they have a lot on their plate. But regulators, they have to answer to the government. Now, let's forget that things may not really function well. But if things went bad, when people start with, let's look at loans, for example. There are loan sharks that are preying on the fact that Nigerians are poor. The first thing people would say is, who is regulating these guys? They don't come to ask the loan sharks, how did you get these people as customers? First thing is, who is regulating you guys? Because it's assumed that there should be someone whose main job is protecting investors, protecting users, or the citizens in this case, and also ensuring that money is not used for illicit purposes. So we've talked about how money laundering is a huge problem, and we know that we are getting closer to election periods in Nigeria as well. We have terror problems all over the country. If there was nobody to ensure that you're not using, of course, this could also go through these channels and nothing happens. But imagine there was nobody to regulate who is using the money for money laundering, who is using it to fund terror activities, who is using it to fund maybe political subversion in one part of the country. I mean, think about what could go wrong if there was no regulator. And
what you just talked about is motive.
Is motive?
Yes, is the motive. Okay, the reason why we have regulators is so that citizens can be protected, investors can be protected. Yes. That's the motive. It's the way they are going about it. When you don't even understand the processes that these people go with. So I understand.
What's your first response when you see something you don't understand?
You attack it, Abi.
It's just the natural human tendency to either push back at it, or if you're let's say very self-aware, you sit back and try to understand it. But sometimes
this one are not self-aware, Abi.
Yeah, maybe let's not say they are not self-aware, but
the majority of people are not self-aware actually.
Yeah, and don't also forget that sometimes
it's about the other person.
Yeah, startups a lot of the time they don't really care about regulators. So why should regulators care about you?
So, okay. Yeah. This is an important conversation, and you should actually join and continue it at the FinTech Summit 2022. So I've just decided to soak everything in and understand what's going on. And if you're trying to understand what is going on in the financial sector in Nigeria and how technology is changing everything drastically, then you should come to the TFS 2022. That's the FinTech Summit. And if you are curious about a lot of things, right? How do I build wealth with FinTech products? How do I save for retirement?
How do I get paid
as a remote worker? So many use cases. You're going to discover all of these things at the FinTech Summit 22. Then if you are the more curious type, you are the more business minded types, there are a lot of networking opportunities. There are a lot of insightful conversations to be had at the FinTech Summit 2022. So just go to fintech.techpoint.africa
and register. It is going to hold on November 26th. November 26th is just a little above 1 month. So just go to the website and register. And one interesting conversation I'm looking forward to is the discussion about if there are too many fintechs in Africa. I can't wait for that conversation. We are going to talk about it at the FinTech Summit. We have to trash that out because some people are saying, oh, there are too many fintechs in Nigeria, in Africa. They are not enough, or they should be specialized on. Everybody should not just be doing how to move 50,000 naira across the bank accounts. So that conversation, I'm looking forward to it. So go to fintech.techpoint.africa and get your early bird ticket. Get your early bird ticket now, because I don't want it to be disrespectful, but seriously, get your early bird ticket now, because by the time the late bird ticket or the ticket close, don't come to my DM. Okay, you can come to my DM, but I will still not answer. But come to my. I mean, I will not be able to help you then.
Okay, we understand now. All right. So on that note, we're going to be leaving here at this point. Of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or anywhere else you're watching this, please just share, like, subscribe, drop a comment. Of course, we've been seeing all your comments and we're responding with our own personal accounts. And yes, we promised last week that if we see just one comment, 2 comment, 3 comment, but just one for Zipline or Jumia, we're going to make it happen. And we're already on that currently. Don't worry, we're going to surprise you with that episode. And we're going to be working on something special for Independence Day. I'm setting up the entire editorial team right now. for this. And of course,
I just rolled my eyes.
we're working on something special because it has to be special, you know.
I will tweet this when your managing editor sets you up.
Yes.
Ow.
Let's set him up.
We'll
What do you
plan
want to
it.
set up?
We'll plan it.
Okay. I'm waiting for you. In the meantime, you can find me on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Hi-Hat Radio, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. Don't worry. You might see Bolu some other time.
Hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.